Okay, so this will probably be my last video for today. After this, I'll be taking a break from making videos. Not so much from the guitar, but from making videos, yeah. Today's videos, I did one on the history of guitars, a little bit. I don't know all the history, so the video I made and stuff may not be 100% accurate, but it kind of gives you an idea. As well as the history of learning how to play guitar, which again, all that may not be accurate. It's just kind of giving you an idea of questions you can ask, ideas of how to learn how to play or whatnot. And then second video I did was more of exercising and stuff, which I also showed a graph of musical notes on the guitar, where they are, why we exercise so we can learn how to play those and stuff. This video I'm going to be morely doing chords, because I know some of you might want to try some chords. Also maybe challenge myself a little bit as far as playing the guitar, show you what I've learned from other people, as well as let's see, yeah, learn from what other people, chords, challenge myself. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's get started here. So if you've seen the other videos and stuff of me playing, exercising and stuff, learning the notes on the guitar, then you kind of have an idea of that right there. If you haven't and stuff, you should check those videos out so you know what I'm talking about with some of these notes, as well as a tablature, because I'm going to show a diagram of tablature here in just a few minutes. But if you're trying to make music or whatnot and stuff, and you've kind of got the idea of the notes on the guitar, finger placement, exercising and stuff to get better at playing and all that sort of stuff, maybe you're trying to get to, well, what are the chords on the guitar? How do I play certain chords, or what are all the chords? Well, just like notes and stuff, depending on how your guitar is set up, the notes are infinite as to where they are, how to play them, and so forth. If you change the tuning of the guitar, then the notes change on the guitar as well. Chords are the same way. If you change the tuning of the guitar, the chords are infinite. But with E standard tuning and stuff, they're still pretty well infinite as far as where the chords are. You have to kind of look it up or study music theory. And like my other videos and stuff, I reveal my sources and stuff, so that way if you need to go to these sources and stuff and find out what you're looking for, and I haven't mentioned it in the video, then you can. So for music theory, I took a course in Justin Guitars, which is a website, justinguitars.com, to help me understand how to play a little bit better, as well as the understanding of music a little bit better, which made it to where it was easier for me to remember where things were on the guitar. Understanding chords, you're going to kind of go into that same category. To understand what all the chords are and where they all are, it will take you a while to learn them all, just like math equations or history or dates or whatnot. There are an infinite amount of them and stuff, and it's just because of the way they're built. To understand that, though, you have to do a little bit of homework or research in music theory to understand that. Now, when I first got started, I started with guitar tricks to teach me how to play guitar. I went from that to Justin Guitars, gave up on the guitar tricks and stuff because I kept getting stuck. I wasn't sure if it's so much at this point in time, if it was so much I was getting stuck or I just didn't know what I was doing or whatnot. I wasn't asking the right questions. That's kind of the point of these videos. So, other sources that I use, though, to help me out with things are Marty Music, and I'll demonstrate something I've learned from Marty Music, which he has his own YouTube channel. He does live YouTube videos as well. Brooke Hoover's is somebody I found on YouTube as well. He does a lot of videos himself, demonstrating different guitars, playing styles, all that sort of stuff. He is actually a teacher. He used to teach it. He still does teach it as far as I know. I go to him quite often and stuff. I'll even leave comments in there and stuff asking him how to do this or how to do that. Watching his videos, and I've picked up a few things from him too. And I'll continue doing all this stuff and using all my sources until I get to the point where I feel like I'm doing pretty good on my own. I may always go back to those sources. We always do tend to go back to old sources we use and stuff to help us out in future things. But other sources I use are Ultimate Guitar, which I've showed that in one of my other videos and stuff of some music and tablature and sort of things. As well as I do try to stream on Twitch a little bit and stuff, just in case anybody wants to watch me live or ask questions in person or whatnot and stuff. And I have a couple different guitars, a couple different amps, but that's beside the point. So let's get to these chords, and then we'll move on from there. So the first chord right here we're going to do, and I will transfer this over so you can see what I'm talking about here. So the first chord we're going to do here is an A chord. Why is it called an A chord? Well, in order to understand why it's called an A chord, you will need to understand music theory, or at least check into it and stuff to understand why it's called an A chord. But for now, we're just going to learn to play it. So if you're looking at the diagram right there, you see the standard tuning at the top, E, A, D, G, B, E. By now, if you've watched a few of my videos and stuff, hopefully that's sinking into where you're getting it in memory, because that's very important to know. Underneath those letters and stuff where it says A, you see at the top of it an X, an O, and then another O. You see the numbers 1, 2, 3, sort of thing on that chart right there. So the X indicates a string that we will not be hitting. We will not be strumming that string. So in this case and stuff, it's just the bottom 5 strings. Now the O's indicate a string that you don't actually have to use a fret on. So where that A string is, we won't have a finger on any of the frets for that string right there. The 1 normally indicates your first finger. The 2 indicates your second finger or your middle finger. The 3 normally indicates your ring finger, and if there's a 4th, it normally indicates your pinky finger, which in this case and stuff, there won't be actually any 4th fingers yet. I do use a 4th finger in one of these and stuff, but yes, it's optional. So that A, the way to make the A with your fingers, so the way that's showing it and stuff is 1, 2, 3, and they're on the second block down. That indicates the second fret. So the first finger, second finger, and third finger will be on the D string, G string, and B. So first on the D, second on the G, third on the B string. The second fret down, which indicates the second block. Okay, and we're going to strum all the strings except for the E string. The A string and the high E string will be left open. It should sound like this. Learned your first chord, the A chord. That is the A chord right there. Now there are multiple ways of sitting there playing that, okay? You see me using my first 3 fingers. I've seen people use one finger going across all 3 of those strings. I've also seen people use their first 3 fingers. I'm using actually not my first 3 fingers, but my second 3 fingers. So my middle finger, my ring finger, and my pinky finger. And that's just because I got big fingertips. My first 3 fingers actually don't fit on those strings very well. So I've gotten used to the habit of using my second 3 fingers, my middle, ring, and pinky finger on those 3 strings. I've also seen it played this way too, to where you use the middle finger on that D string, second fret, and your ring finger on the B string, second fret, and your first finger is actually in between the 2 of them on that G string, second fret. If you notice, I'm making the same sound every time. So I would find what fits comfortably to you and get used to that method right there. Some songs may require you to alter your way of playing it. But I wouldn't get too much into that until you actually have to learn how to do it that way. For now, just find out what's comfortable for you and play it that way. Now, the second note we're going to go to, the second chord we're going to go to is a D chord. This one I can normally sit there and follow along with what the the numbers are with my fingers and stuff, because I can get my fingers into that position or that shape. But as you notice and stuff, now we're not going to be hit, besides just the E string, we're not going to be hitting the A string either. So it'll be just the 4 lower strings, the D, G, B, and E. Place our first finger on the 2nd fret of the G string. Our 3rd finger will be on the B string at the 3rd fret, the 3rd block down. That's what that indicates. And our middle finger will be on the 2nd fret of the high E string. It should sound like this. Let me get in the right position first. Sorry, that was wrong. There, that's right. And as you can tell and stuff, I knew it sounded wrong when I first played, and that's because my ears kind of know what that sound should be and what it shouldn't be. So that's the ear training right there kicking in, telling me that wasn't right the first time. Okay, so now we have the A chord and the D chord. Now it may take you a little bit to get used to having your fingers in those specific shapes. And it's another reason for doing these exercises all the time. These can be included in your exercises though, getting used to having your fingers in that position right there and playing that specific chord. It really gets to be an exercise when you're trying to change chords, go from an A to a D. After you do it so many times though, it gets easier and easier. This is where that repetition, that picking up the guitar every day, practicing it every day, doing your exercises, warm-ups every day, makes it easier to change chords. Now we got a third one here, the E chord. The E chord doesn't have any X marks at the top, so we hit all 6 strings in this one. But our finger positioning is a little bit different. So in the first 2 and stuff, it was 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 1st, 3rd, 2nd. And this one, our first finger is going to be on the very last string. So what I mean by that is your first finger will be on that G string at the 1st fret. Your second finger will be on the A string at the 2nd fret. And your ring finger will be on the D string at the 2nd fret. It should look kind of like this. I know it may be a little hard to see it and stuff, and that's why I've got the diagram sitting up there so you can see it a little bit easier. Where your fingers, your first finger, your second finger, your third finger should be in correlation with the frets. But it should sound like this. At this point in time, you have 3 different chords you know how to play. Transferring from one chord to another chord can be difficult, okay? There is no similarity in these chords, okay? And what I mean by similarity, so your finger cannot stay in one position going from one chord to another, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. Because I'll explain that a little bit later. So, but for now we got the A chord, the D chord, and the E chord. Now, transitioning to those looks a little bit like this. Again, remember which strings you can hit and which strings you should not hit. Okay, open strings as well as closed strings. The X's for that A chord, you don't hit the low E string. The X's on the D chord, you don't hit the top 2 strings or 2 lowest strings. But for the E chord, you hit all 6. Can we do anything with these 3 chords? Yes, we can do a bunch of stuff with these 3 chords. For example, just these 3 simple chords right here. It's no different than the notes we've been learning how to play. The exercises we're using to play these notes. We can add in a chord now because we know how to play a chord. Transitioning from one of these notes to one of those chords is going to take time. I could not do it the first day. I couldn't do it the second day. I couldn't do it the first week. I was barely able to get through the strings, let alone get my finger positioning proper for the chords. can make up melodies with just these 3 chords. We don't have thousands of chords we know yet. We know more chords, yes, we can make more songs, but with just these right here and stuff, we can make an infinite amount of songs with just these 3 chords and the notes that we know on the guitar. And that's kind of something I use and stuff when I challenge myself a little bit. This will also become very helpful and stuff when you're trying to learn how to play songs. Whether you're trying to learn how to play somebody else's song or you're trying to make up your own song. Now, what I'm doing right here and stuff, this is not somebody else's song. This is something I'm making up. I'm simply making that up as I go along. Because of the fact that I keep picking up my guitar every day, keep practicing every day, trying these things out and stuff, I'm making this stuff up as I go along as far as what I'm playing on my guitar. Let's move on to the 4th chord there, the G chord. We'll add another chord in there. And again, if you need to pause this video and stuff, I will set up a spot and stuff where you can see this. But you can find this just simply by doing a Google search. A Google search of guitar chords, a Google search of specific chords, the A chord, the D chord, the E chord. And they may vary a little bit depending on the tuning of the guitar. But for the most part, it's still the same. You're listening for that single sound that you're used to hearing. Now there's a different sound right there. So 2 downstrokes, or 2 downstrums. There's one sound right there. Here's another sound. Because I'm starting with that high E. Also, there's a strumming pattern right there you can work on learning. And you can change that up. So if you're sitting there listening to a song and stuff, you know how to play this chord by itself. And you just want to try to keep up with the music as far as the beat is concerned. Or maybe it's a little more difficult than that. Now, it doesn't sound very great instead of playing the same chord over and over. It doesn't. I agree. But it gives us a starting point, and that's what this is all about. So, if we add the G in there, okay, the G has no chord, no strings and stuff. That'll be silent, so we're going to get all 6 strings. Our first finger is going to be on the A string on the 2nd fret. Our second finger, our middle finger, is going to be on the E string, 3rd fret. And our 3rd finger, now they play it this way, with that ring finger down there on the high E string on the 3rd fret. Okay, this is one way you can play this. How it should sound. I play it a little bit differently. I use my pinky finger. Oops, I'm getting the wrong string. Okay. You can switch this up. Use your middle finger where your first finger is supposed to go. Use your ring finger where your second finger is supposed to go, and use your pinky where your 3rd finger is supposed to go. Where this finger is not being used now. Find out what's comfortable for you. Learn to play it in a comfortable way for you. Because when you need to transition to it and stuff, getting your fingers into that shape quickly as possible and stuff to make that sound that you need to make is very important. But you'll find also and stuff, if you have to switch it up, then you'll have to switch it up. But yes, this is the way they're showing it. First finger, second finger, or middle finger, second finger, whatever. And then ring finger or 3rd finger, whichever. Let me reposition the camera here a little bit so you can see this 5th chord right here that's kind of covered up by my camera there. Okay, so now you can see a 5th chord. And here in a little bit and stuff, I'll take the camera off and That way, if you want to pause it and work on transitioning between just these 5 chords, you can, and you have something to look at to see what you need, where your fingers need to go. The C chord. There is a lot of people out there that say that this is a very struggle chord to get to sometimes, and yes, it may be for some, but after enough practice, enough times trying and stuff, eventually it becomes easier and easier. So our first finger is going to go on that first fret of the B string. Our second finger will go on the second fret of the D string, and our third finger will go on the third fret of the A string. We will not be hitting this E, and the G and the high E will be open. And yes, if you have to look down at what you're picking to make sure you're not hitting those specific strings until your strumming hand gets used to what strings to hit, that's perfectly fine. It's part of the learning process. So now we know all 5 chords. Now, to give you a chance to be able to pause the video and see all 5 chords, if you want to keep it up on your computer screen or up on your phone or whatnot, to be able to practice these 5 chords, transitioning from one to another, mix it up however you want, whatever. It's all practice and exercise. There's a picture of it right there. And you can pause the video and stuff and work on practicing these 5 chords. These are very common chords used in a lot of songs all the time. And these are considered chords because of the fact that they have multiple strings, not just 2 or 3 strings. There's at least 4 strings being hit in these. Yeah, I'm going to take this off and stuff and put this back over to me on here and stuff, and show you how I can transition between these 5 chords a little bit. Alrighty. Notice I am using my ring finger and stuff on that G chord. Some people show the G chord being like this, other people show it being off. Music theory is the only way you're going to know which is the proper way of doing it. And here's what the difference is in sound. Yes, I've gotten used to where I can pick up a finger off the fretboard if I need to and stuff just pretty easily. Very slight bit of difference there, but there is a difference. You can just barely hear it if your ears are trained to it. So now, how fast can you go through those? Well, at first and stuff, it's probably going to be very slow. I wouldn't even try using a metronome to get through going from A, D, E, G to C. I would just work on trying to get those shapes in place simply by doing this. So here's the A, here's the D, here's the E, here's the G, here's the C. And you may not be able to do it that fast, and that's perfectly fine. Take your time, get them right, and just work at transitioning between them. Over time, you'll get faster. The idea is to get them right and make it sound proper. How fast can I go through it? Well, it depends on the day. How tired I am, how warmed up my fingers are, sort of thing. And I may not go through them A, D, E, G, C. I may switch it up and jump around. making something sound good to you and stuff makes it easier to transition between the song, the chords, just because it's more pleasing to the ear. So if you could find a mixture of playing all 5 of them and stuff to where it sounds pleasing to the ear, that may be helpful too. That can be helpful too. If you call out the chord and stuff when you go to play it and stuff, that might help you remember what the chord is. Because later on and stuff, you may be like, well, what was that again? I played it like this. What chord was this? Well, playing it and saying it out loud and stuff may help you remember what chord it is. So, A, D, E, G, C. A, D, E, G, C. And normally when I play and stuff with these, I may not use all 5 of them. I only may use 3 of them, for example. It's only 3 of the chords. It's the G, the D, and the A. If I want to add the E to it, but as you can tell right now and stuff, I'm still not that great at it. I'm just trying to help you find what you're looking for, pretty much. Plus, that was me kind of challenging myself a little bit too. Now, like I said, there is a whole lot more chords than just these. For example, I found that I used to play this one all the time, which is an F chord. I don't have a demonstration up there for it, but you can look it up on Google or whatnot. Also, there's an A minor. What's an A minor? I thought we were playing an A. Well, an A minor is kind of in the same way, except for you just adjust one of your fingers a little bit. Music theory will help you to understand that. So there's a difference between the sounds of the A minor and the A. I think that's an E minor compared to the E. Now, is there a G minor or C minor? Again, you're going to have to do a little bit of homework to find those out. For right now and stuff, I would just practice on these right here, practice on your notes, practice on your exercising. And then when you start challenging yourself with some songs, for example, I got a list of songs right here and stuff I challenge myself with occasionally. This song in particular, I've tried playing a few times. I'm not good at it at all, but so I just did something there you probably haven't seen yet. This right here shape. So my first finger is literally going across all 6 strings right there. It's very difficult to do. I think I've done that in another video before. So you're trying to press hard enough on the strings to get all 6 strings. And it can create grooves in your fingers, even possibly tear up the skin a little bit. So be careful of doing that until your skin gets strong enough to do it. And then this E chord, let me pull it back up here real quick. that E chord right there. So I am actually using that shape right there, same shape, except for I'm sliding everything down 1 fret and then put my finger over all the top strings. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is called a bar chord, F. Again, music theory, help you out learning this stuff. Or Google chords, sort of thing. This right here is not an easy chord to play because of having to stretch that first finger across all 6 strings. It's a little bit of a challenge for myself because I can't transition fast enough on those chords for the song I was trying to play, and I'm not going to mention what song that was and stuff. It's just a challenge I've been putting myself as to try to learn. How about these chords? I'm sure you've heard of power chords. So a simple power chord, first finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, you just hit the E and the A string, just those 2 by itself. Let's add something to it. Let's mute the string a little bit. Put our palm down there at the bottom of the strings. Now that may be a little bit challenging if you're not used to the whole strumming thing, except with your right hand. What about another power chord? Okay. Let's move our first finger over to that 2nd fret on the E string and our ring finger on the 4th fret of the A string. So now we got 2 power chords. So we are learning a little bit of something here. This may be speeding up quite a bit for some of you that have just first picked up your guitar, and that's perfectly fine. Challenging yourself doesn't hurt. Just remember to go back to the exercises to keep practicing the things that we've already learned or whatnot to get faster with your fingers. Again, the whole idea of these videos that I'm making is to inspire people to keep picking up their guitar every day. There's always something you can learn on your guitar, or something new you can do that is fun. And that's why you bought the guitar, to have fun and learn how to play music. So now again, I'm just hitting the top 2 strings. We can change up the strumming pattern to make it sound a little bit better. Add some palm muting to it. Palm muting is just simply barely a little bit of pressure on the back of the strings back in the back. If you have a Floyd Rose set up on your guitar and stuff, that may be a little bit difficult, and you may want to use a little bit of caution, because if you push down those strings, it'll cause the strings to stretch, and you can therefore cause the strings not to be in tune anymore. So you got to be careful if you have one of those guitars. What about another power chord? Well, so I have learned about musical scales and music theory. Something I showed you before in one of these scales was this song right here. So let's apply that to the power chords. So all I'm doing is keeping my fingers in the same position I was playing that power chord in right there. I'm just sliding it down, going along with the scale. Now, why am I skipping strings? Well, because there's, like I said, I'm using the scale right now, and the scale requires the first note, second, third. There's actually a sequence to it, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I'll show that in the next video I do for tomorrow, whatnot stuff. But scaling includes a certain pattern: 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, half step, 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, half step, sort of thing. I may show that in a video tomorrow, and there's a lot more to go on with along with steps and stuff as far as the scale is concerned. But like I said, I'll try to get into that tomorrow. But for now and stuff, it's just. Now, what about this first chord we were playing? Why can't we put that one in there? Well, we can. Let's see. For the scale to work. Or we can play that anywhere along this guitar here. Let's start off down here. Start that over. Like I said, I'm challenging myself a little bit. Okay, so how about this? It sounds a little deep. Let's see if we can reach it up a little bit. Go down to here. Sounds a little better. You can play around with that however you want to. I did mention at the start of this video and stuff, I was going to show you something that I have learned off of a couple people I watch on YouTube. Like, for example, Marty Music, his YouTube channel. This is something I learned off of his channel. I showed you that, but if you go back to one of my other videos and stuff, I showed you a chart that had all the notes in it on the guitar, clear down to the 12th fret. So, if we think about that chart or memorize that chart, what notes am I hitting right here? So, this right here would be the same as an open string, so this is the E right here. And if you remember right and stuff in that chart, if you want to go back and look at it or whatnot, or even write this down. So it's on the high E string, it's a 12, 10, 12, 11, 10. Let's see, let me try it again. So high E string, 12th fret, high E string, 10th fret, then we're switching over to the B string, B on the 12, 11, 10th fret, then we go up to the 8th fret, hit it, and slide down 1, and then we switch over to the G string on the 9th fret. So again, that's E string, then over to the B string, then over to the G string. So E12, 10, G12, no, sorry, B12, 11, 10, 8 to the 9, and then 9 on the G string. Again, I learned that off of Marty Music. I watched one of his videos and stuff. I loved the way that sounded, and he showed all the way through, clear up to he showed that right there. I watched him play it. I learned it. I can play it now. I was proudly accomplished at that point in time when I learned how to play that. Thank you very much. Something else I learned. So, I watched another YouTube video of Brooke Hoover's. He played this little riff. Now, I may have kind of changed that around from the way he actually played it, but you can mix this up any way you want. So I play it holding the I'm on the 7th fret right now on the E and B string, hitting them both at the same time. Then I change over to the G string, 9th fret, then back up to the 7th fret on the same string, and then down one. And you can either hammer it or pluck it or strum it, and then over to the D string, 9th fret. So all I did right there is I slid up 2 frets. Went from the 7th to the 5th. Do it again. Now here's something about that little riff. I do like that. I like the way it sounds, and I play through it and stuff. I'll jump around here and stuff. It's great exercise for the fingers. But here's something I found about that. So there's a song that I've been trying to learn called Johnny Be Good. If you're familiar with it, you are. It came out of the movie, well, it didn't come from the movie. Sorry. Chuck Berry is who it came from. But it was played in the movie Back to the Future by Michael J. Fox. There's a part in that movie where he does that same thing. I'm going to see if I can play a little bit of that song real quick right here and stuff, and see if you can't recognize where that same pattern is being played in that song. So this is the particular thing that I was doing. That's what I was doing. Now, in that song from Back to the Future, let's see if I can remember how to do this here. Right there. Same little pattern. I'm even using this, but I'm sliding down to it. It starts off with can I play the rest of it? I can challenge myself with a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I think Marty plays this a little bit differently than what I've been playing. I've learned it from Ultimate Guitar, like I said. So Ultimate Guitar has one style or way of playing it. Marty Music has a different way of playing it and stuff. I think both of them sound pretty good. JustinGuitars.com, he plays it too. I think he plays it just a little bit differently too. Again, that's going to be based on how people hear things. I believe there is only one guitar being used and stuff, but I believe there's also different styles or different ways he plays it depending on which one you're listening to. Whether it's the original vinyl album, a recorded one, whatnot. So, am I doing this right? Yes and no. Again, we're just learning, we're just practicing. Find, if you want to learn to play this song, find a way that sounds pleasing to you. If you decide you want to play this song for an audience, try to find the best method that is pleasing to the audience, because that's why you're playing for an audience. So. That doesn't quite sound right. I don't think I'm in the right spot. said, I may not have that precisely right. It's been a while since I've looked at that sheet music for it, and it's also been a while since I've looked at Marty's way of playing it and stuff, so I may not have that right at all. But I do know that this part right here is also being played in it, but this has, I mean, you can play this in multiple ways too, so. There's that pinky stretch we're doing. We did that earlier and stuff in another video and stuff where we went 4 fingers across 5 frets. Now, when I first started playing it, I could not do that. I couldn't even get my pinky to stretch out that far. After weeks of trying and stuff, I've been able to do it. Let's challenge myself with something else here a little bit. Let's see here. We'll try this one right here. I'm not going to play it all the way through that and stuff because it's likely that YouTube will pick that up as a copyright and stuff for the song that I'm trying to play, because I've actually gotten pretty good at it. That's something I'll have to play more myself and stuff. But if you were to continue it, yeah, I've gotten a little bit of it, which is why I go back to old sources. Anyways, so I've showed you some chords, showed you some of the challenges and stuff I put myself through to try to become better. Most of the time when I'm trying to play a lot of these songs and stuff, I do have either the ultimate guitar tablature up, or I'm watching somebody else do it, as in Marty Music, Brooke Hoover's, whoever it may be. If I ever find somebody else to help me learn how to play some of these things and stuff, more than be happy to welcome that into my life as well. That's been a bit more struggle than anything else, but I'll get there. It just takes time. So I'm going to take a break from this and stuff. This will be the last video again for the day. I'll make some more tomorrow. After this and stuff, I'll probably jump over to Twitch and maybe do some live streams for a few hours. If anybody wants to see me over there, ask questions, you can. Until then, I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click the like if you like, or leave a comment if you need to. So.